Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today to round off the week. Today is Friday the 5th of March. Now what is a 3D market commentary? If this is the first time you've checked us out on this or first time you've come across this, just let me explain very quickly. So every day we send out a news flash or a newsletter that comes out every single day in the morning before the markets open. Depending on where you are in the world, obviously that might be the afternoon or the evening, but before the US markets open. And on that newsflash, we go through 5 of the major markets in the world, and we look at where the probabilities lie based on technology as to where they're likely to go to and when we would be likely to get in and out of these markets. Again, using technology and statistics on our side to help us figure out the probability. So we send out that newsflash every day, and then we do this 3D market commentary to just expand on those concepts a little bit more, explain it a little bit more for those that want to understand what that technology means and how we came to those conclusions. So that's what I'll do today. So my name is Becky. You'll see if you turn your head a little bit, my email address is becky@tradictive.com. So you can email me if you have questions about anything. You're perfectly welcome to email me on that. Now there's also this link here, tradewithufos.com/Becky. Now why is that important? The reason that I'd like you to use this link for a couple of reasons. First reason is if you don't get the newsflash already, like if you're new to this, if you go to that page, and I'll bring it up now, if you go to that page and you sign up with a free membership, then you'll get that newsflash every day. It will come through to you as an email. So that's one way to get the newsflash, is to sign up with a free Trade with UFOs membership through the tradewithufos.com/Becky link. What you also have down here is an area where you can ask questions publicly. So again, if you've got a free Trade with UFOs membership and you come to this link, rather than send me an email, you can ask the question here in a public space. Why is that good? It means other people can learn from the answer. So it might be that the question you have, if you come down and scroll down, there's other answers here or other questions here that have been answered from previous people that have answered questions. So you might have a question that they've already asked, saves you time sending an email. If you have a question that's not already here, you're doing that favor to somebody else later down the line. So again, prefer that you ask questions publicly there, but again, you are welcome to email us if you need to. So let's have a look at I just need to put the disclaimers up first, actually. I just remembered I need to do that. So let's put the disclaimers up here. There you go, they've been highlighted at the top there, so important that you guys read them, not just for legal reasons, but to understand what to expect from these kind of things. These kind of things are demonstrations of how we use the product and how we use the technology. Ultimately up to you to figure out what you do with it, in terms of whether or not you trade with it or whether or not you add it into something else, whether you ignore it entirely, that's up to you. Okay, so let's have a look here at the news flash. So this is what we send out every day. This is the email that gets sent out every day, and I'll go through that with you step by step alongside the charts that we have here. So it's a 3D approach. Why do we call it a 3D approach? Because we're looking at three main elements here. Again, using technology, using data. We try and be as objective as possible when we're trading, and that's what we use, and that's why we use technology here to help us. So the first thing we look at is market climate. Climate essentially tells us the trend or the general market environment, the market direction. Basically, should we be looking to go long or buy, or should we be looking to go short or sell? Or should we be doing nothing at all? That could be a valid answer as well. So we look at the AutoClimate. That comes from our AutoClimate app, which is down here. By the way, AutoClimate app is free. You can download it for free and use it again to help you figure out this first question, which is, where's the general market direction going? Where do the probabilities lie? The AutoClimate app will tell us that. Again, I'll show you it per market as we go through. We then want to look at buy and sell UFOs. UFO stands for unfilled orders. So these little flying saucers, as much as they're called UFOs because they're little flying saucers, they also are unfilled orders, meaning there will be big stacks of buy orders in the markets that would be likely to push price up, and there will be big stacks of sell orders in the markets that are likely to push price down. So again, we're using technology here that's scanning through market data and showing us where those stacks of orders are likely to be, which again helps us pinpoint more specifically where we may get in or out of these markets. Rather than just buy at market or sell at market, where do we have higher probability for a change in market direction based on where buy and sell orders are that the technology has showed us? So we're going to look at UFOs. And then the third thing we look at is market volatility, which is basically what can we expect in terms of movement up or down within given periods of time. So we'll go through that per market. So let's start with the S&P. That's the first market we're going to look at. The S&P is on this, the right-hand side here is the chart. And now you'll notice it's the ES1, which is the TradingView version of the ES, futures for the ES. Now, the futures contract for the ES represents the top 500 US stocks within the S&P 500. If you don't understand anything I just said, just acknowledge that we are looking at US stocks, basically. We're looking at a representation of US stocks. Now, what can we see from that? I'm just going to move our price down a little bit there so we can see it all nice and neatly. Okay, right, so we see that we have a current downward climate that is confirmed. Now, we have a thick red dot here on our AutoClimate. So we have a confirmed downwards climate. That's what that means. Thick red dot means confirmed downwards climate, probability to the downside. A thick blue dot would mean a confirmed upwards climate, probability to the upside, or a thin dot of either colour would mean no probabilities either way, kind of leave it alone. In this case, we have a thick red dot, confirmed probabilities to the downside. Now there's an extra layer to this. We have these stats here, what do they mean? Now this shows us what normally happens in this market versus what is happening now. So the second number there where it says 3 out of 3.01, 3.01 is how many candles this market would usually go down by. So I know it's 3.01, which is obviously very low as a decimal place, but I'm going to round it up. Whatever the decimal place is, we round it up. So what that means is this market usually goes down for 4 candles. So this is a daily chart, so 4 days before something changes. Again, that's a usual, right? That's not a guarantee and always happening. It's what's probable based on statistics. And we are currently on number 3 to the downside, which means that we have probability of maybe another day or so of a move to the downside before we start to lose probabilities. Now, of course, there are situations where we go past what is normal. There are situations where we fall short of what is normal. But again, based on what is normal, based on what happens usually on this market, we've got another day or so before it may change direction. So overall climate to the downside with probability of a slightly further move down as well. When it comes to buy and sell UFOs, at the moment we have no sell UFOs. We've just come off of all-time highs. We don't have much data above us. We don't have any sell order information at the moment on this market. When it comes to buy orders, the closest one that we have, which is this one here, is 34.80 to 33.19, which is quite a way below us. So what this means is overall in the S&P, we have probability to the downside with quite a little bit of room before we hit buy orders that could push it back up, which again gives us space to move to the downside. So overall probability there to the downside with the S&P. And when it comes to market volatility, by the way, I should say, this is all based off of a daily chart. There are different things obviously happening on different time frames. It might be that on the 5-minute chart it's a very different environment, but on the daily chart at least, overall probability to the downside. When we look at market volatility, we can see that in one day, we would expect movement up or down of 68.47 points. In 1 week, we would expect movement up or down of 150.72 points. And in 1 month, we would expect movement up or down of 313.76 points. So with that, again, it's movement up or down within these given periods of time. It's not to say it's going to exactly move that amount. It just gives us an idea of the type of movement that we're likely to expect, either up or down. We can then use our climate and UFOs to figure out in which direction that's more likely to happen to then help us make our trading decisions. So that's the S&P, and again, we'll go through this for each of our 5 major markets that we're looking at. So I'm just going to scroll down here to the next market. In the meantime, you might see here that we do a bunch of courses. If you're new to this, or if you want to learn a different market, futures, stocks, forex, if you want to learn how to backtest plans, build a trading plan, psychology, your mindset when you trade, we do courses on all of those things. With most of our courses, you get 3-month complimentary access to the apps. Okay, so AutoClimate is actually a free app anyway. AutoUFOs, depending on what you do, comes with a cost. I'll explain that a bit later. But you get 3 months access to those apps as part of the courses. Okay, moving on to the next market, which is crude oil. So that would be CL1 in this case. So we are looking at the continuous futures contract again for oil. So again, if you don't understand what that means, we're looking at a representation of oil. Okay, so in this case, we have a confirmed upwards climate. We see that here. Confirmed upwards climate, thick blue dot. That tells us probability to the upside, confirmed upwards climate. Our stats tell us that normally this market would go up for 7 candles. Again, I'm rounding that up. So 7 days on this chart. So 7 candles on a daily chart is 7 days. And we are currently on candle number 2, meaning probability of a continuous move to the upside based on what usually happens here in this market. When it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we have buy orders here at 57.29 to 54.81. And we have sell orders here, this red UFO. Those are what the sell orders look like, they're red. And that is from 69.90 to 68.46. So again, those are where the orders are at the moment. We're maybe, 3/4 of the way up to the sell orders. Nothing too close that is likely to move it today. So again, overall probability there to the upside with oil based on a daily chart. Now when it comes to market volatility, we use the OVX and we can see that we would expect to move up or down in one day of 1.53 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 3.37 points. And in 1 month, it would be up or down of 7.01 points. Again, that gives us an idea of where it's likely to move up or down, not exactly. Again, it's unlikely to move exactly 1.53 points in a day. But again, it gives us an idea of what's more likely to happen roughly. And then we can use our climate and UFOs to figure out in which direction that's more likely to happen and where we might be choosing to get in or out of these markets. So that is oil overall. Let's move now to the next market, which will be gold. In the meantime, as I said, you can get the AutoUFOs. AutoClimate as an app is free. You can download that with a free membership. So get your free membership on that tradewithufos.com/Becky. Sign up for a free membership and then you can download the AutoClimate. If you'd like the UFOs, You can click that, or again, you can set up a free membership and go from there through the website to get the AutoUFOs, where it's highlighting to you where these orders are, where these big stacks of buy and sell orders are. Depending on which platform you use, depends on how much they cost, but for the TradingView version that I'm using right now, it's $34 a month. Okay, so moving on to gold. Let's have a look here. So GC. There we are. So this is gold. Again, I'm just going to squidge it a little bit so we can see everything we need to see. There we are. Okay, so when it comes to gold, we have a confirmed downwards climate. That's what we see here. Thick red dot. So again, confirmed downwards climate, probability to the downside. Usually this market would go down for 7 candles on a daily chart, and we're on candle number 7, which means we've kind of run out of room based on what usually happens as a move to the downside. For every candle that we go past what is usual, we lack probability of it continuing. Hopefully that makes sense. In the same way, if you pull an elastic band and keep pulling, the less likely it is to let you keep doing it, the more likely it is to contract back on itself. So it's the same kind of logic here with the markets. They don't extend forever. They don't fall forever. They're likely to move down for a certain amount of time and then move up for a certain amount of time. In this case, we have come to the end of what is normal for a move to the downside. That's not to say it will definitely change today or tomorrow. It's just to say that we are going to start to lose probabilities now of a continuous move down. Now, when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we have sell orders above us here, and that is at 1757.4 to 1704.6. In fact, they're already working here. We had these sell orders, price came back into it, and it's on its way down. That's what we expect these UFOs to do, is push price down if they're sell orders, push price up if they're buy orders. Closest stack of buy orders is here, that's 1652.8 to 1624.4. So again, those are the closest stacks of buy and sell orders that we have there on the chart. Now, when it comes to volatility, we see that we would expect a movement up or down in one day of 23.04 points, in a week up or down of 50.72 points, and in 1 month up or down of 105.58 points. Again, gives us an idea of what we expect up or down. Overall, with gold, probability to the downside, we've just reacted off of sell orders, which are likely to push it down. But bear in mind, we're starting to lose probability of it continuing down. So we're kind of lacking on an area of probability that we'd prefer there. Okay, moving on to the next market. Before we do that, just going to say here, you might be somebody, you might not want to do the courses, you might have already taken our courses, you might be already using the technology. If you want to follow us in a coaching capacity where you can watch our different instructors place trades live in the markets, using this technology in all of the different markets that we trade, forex, stocks, futures, options, or even talk about it in terms of sharpening or psychology, then you can join our coaching. It's only $21 a month, or you get like yearly discounts and things like that. And again, there's stuff on YouTube as well. I'll come to that in a bit. Okay, so next market is the dollar. Now this is, in my opinion, probably the most important out of these 5. Even if you don't trade it, the dollar is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide every single day. So be aware of what the dollar does. It will impact all of the other markets that we have here on this news flash, as well as obviously other currencies and things like that. So even if you don't trade currency pairs with the dollar in, just be aware of what the dollar is doing. It will help you. So when it comes to the US dollar, again, we're using the futures contract that represents it. We are looking at climate here. We see we have a confirmed upwards climate. Again, we can see that here. Thick blue dot, confirmed upwards climate, probability there to the upside. Lovely. Now, usually this market goes up for 5 candles, once again, rounding that up, and we're on candle number 5. So kind of similar to gold there. Gold was coming to the end of a move down based on what usually happens. Looks like the dollar might be coming to the end of a move up based on what usually happens. Again, not to say that it's not going to surpass that, it's just that it's less likely to, because usually it would get to this point and then change direction. So, although we still have a confirmed upwards climate and probability to the upside, we lack probability of a continuous move. So we've got kind of 1 point for, 1 point against at the moment. Now, when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we're looking here and we see that our buy UFOs are below us here. That's 91.405 to 90.635. Now, when it comes to sell orders, we're actually within them right now. So we're in this stack of sell orders. The numbers for that are 92 even to 92.85. Now, again, bearing in mind that we've come to the end of what is likely to be a move to the upside. Again, we could surpass it, but we're losing probabilities now. And we're in a big stack of sell orders. I wouldn't be surprised to see this market change direction. I also wouldn't be surprised to see it push through those sell orders and keep on. At the moment, we've kind of got two competing forces here. We've got a confirmed upwards climate probability to the upside. We can see that sharp move up, hitting a big stack of sell orders and coming to the end of a likely move to the upside. So we've got buying pressure and selling pressure at the same time here, around about the same area. I would choose to keep away from that. Don't want to be involved in that fight. Don't know who's going to win. There are other opportunities. So again, overall with the dollar kind of indecision really at the moment. Now, when it comes to market volatility, we see that we would expect a movement up or down in one day of 0.41 points. In a week, 0.90 points up or down. And in a month, 1.88 points up or down. Again, gives us an idea of what we expect up or down within these given periods of time. And then we can figure out in which direction that's more likely to happen by using other technology, such as the AutoClimate or the AutoUFOs. So moving on to the last market, which is Bitcoin. Again, in the meantime, I said I would talk to you guys about YouTube. If you're already watching this on YouTube, then you might not need to click that to watch this video on YouTube. But again, have a look around. If you just stumbled upon this, maybe you saw it on Facebook, or maybe you saw it on YouTube, or maybe somebody sent you a link to it, whatever. Check out our YouTube channel. There's loads and loads of videos on there, obviously that you can access for free, of us trading different markets, explaining different concepts, and using this technology. So you can access that if you'd like to. Okay, when it comes to the last market, let's have a look here. This is the backed Bitcoin. So this is what we see here. Now, Bitcoin's obviously been in the news. It's always been in the news. It's always been something that's been talked about. A lot of indecision recently in Bitcoin, and I'm sure that's not a surprise to those of you that might follow it. So we have a downward climate, but it's unconfirmed. So what that means is, this is the first of the day where we see this, we have a thin dot on our AutoClimate, which is the AutoClimate saying to us, I don't know, there's not probability one side or the other. I couldn't call it. So in markets like this, whatever it is, we keep away. If we don't have probabilities up or probabilities down, why would we want to trade it, at least directionally? You might use non-directional things with options, of course. But in terms of just directionally trading up or down, why would you trade anything that doesn't have probability up or down? And that's what our AutoClimate is showing us here. So yes, it's a red dot, so it's down, but it's a thin dot, which means unconfirmed, lack of probabilities. Now, usually this market would move down for, who knows? There's question marks. Why is there question marks? Because this is a new product compared to the US dollar, gold, oil, the US stock market. It's a new product. Bitcoin hasn't been around long enough for us to know what usually happens in this market on a daily chart. On smaller time frames, you might be able to get that data. On bigger time frames, it's just not been, we've not had enough candles, we've not had enough data to be able to say this usually happens or this usually doesn't happen. So at the moment, again, kind of in the dark there when it comes to the stats as well. When it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we're sort of playing about in this sell UFO right now. We've come in, hit the sell orders, come out, gone back in, hit the sell orders, come back out. At the moment, it looks like we might be on the way back into this stack of sell orders. So again, we'll see what happens here. The numbers are 49,347.5 to 58,562.5. Stack of buy 157.5 to 32,192.5. So again, with Bitcoin, overall indecision, we're inside a stack of sell orders right now, or we're coming up to be inside a stack of sell orders. Already reacted a few times to the stack of sell orders, so it might be that we react again and move out, or it might be that it's kind of eating away at the orders to push higher. At the moment, we don't know. I would keep away from something where we don't have probabilities. Now, when it comes to volatility, we can see we'd expect to move up or down of 3,255.46 in one day. In a week, we would expect a movement up or down of 7,166.57. And in a month, we're looking at 14,914.41. Now, those are large numbers. Bitcoin, again, this probably isn't a surprise to you guys, is a more volatile market than the more, say, traditional markets. Not a bad thing, just be aware of it. If you're on the right side of volatility, that's fun. If you're on the bad side of volatility, that's not fun. So again, just be aware that that's the nature of this market before you get involved. Maybe manage your risk a little bit better if you can. Okay, so moving on to this last bit, which is our weekly economic calendar. Now, just to say here, we show you the economic calendar from FX Street, and we filter by high impact news. Now, we're not using the news to help us figure out whether or not we buy or sell or what we're going to do. We're just using the news to let us know, again, that there may be volatility coming in. if there's high impact news coming out on a particular currency or on a particular country, then that could impact the stock markets, that could impact other commodities, that could impact currencies, make them move a little bit crazily. So we just want to be aware that that may happen. So again, we can either choose to keep out if we want to, manage our risk a bit tighter if we want to, maybe have less trades on if we want to, ignore it completely if you want to. But just be aware of it, and then you can make your decision from there. So obviously we are at the end of the week, so all we need to be aware of today, this would have already come out, is that on the US dollar we had non-farm payrolls. They normally cause a little bit of movement, so just be aware that's probably already happening in the markets at the moment. Based on that, it may be that the price has already factored in what that news was likely to be. We don't know, but we just again want to be aware if there's going to be high impact or high volatility coming into the markets. So that's the weekly economic calendar. Now, just to round off by saying, you may have a bunch of questions where you're thinking, this is interesting, but I don't understand how the apps work, or maybe you're using the apps, but maybe you're trading Forex and you think maybe futures might actually be better for me, or I really need to understand how to build a trading plan, or whatever it is. If you want to speak to one of our experts and you can talk through those things, figure out whether or not the apps or the education or the coaching would be useful for you, or none of them at all, you can schedule a self-clarification call there and speak to one of our experts and figure it out. Speak to somebody that knows more about trading, is a bit more maybe objective about what might be better for you in terms of which markets and things like that. Now, again, if you have any questions, you can email us. So it'll either be becky@tradictive.com if you want to get to me, or support@tradictive.com if you have obviously general questions that you need help with. Or you can go to that link that we were saying about, which is tradewithufos.com/Becky. Get yourself a free membership. You'll get the news flash to you every day, and then you can ask questions in a public space where we can answer them and everybody else can see the answers. So the whole community is growing and learning together, which is obviously ideal. Otherwise, guys, I hope you have a very good end to your trading week. I will see you again on Monday morning. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there in the markets. Have fun. Have a great weekend and see you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.